been falling all my life, and people wonder why I'm down to earth.
This is Adversity University.
If you waiting for somebody to feel sorry for you, then you failed already.
Success is best to those who've been grounded first.
Cause ain't nobody gonna feel sorry for you.
Now what are you willing to do?
The only thing that separates a winner from a loser is perseverance.
And this is Adversity University.
All right. Welcome back. So we are at it again. Another episode of the series of the Art of Growing Through series with myself, Cody Martin, and we got counselor extraordinaire Natalie Alexander. How you doing, Natalie?
I'm doing good, Cody. It's good to see you again.
Hey, God, always good to see you. It's always a pleasure. So I do have to speak about last episode in which, y'all couldn't hear me clear. That's because we had a little bit of technical difficulties, and we ain't gonna talk about it. But the mic wasn't all the way together. So at least you got through the episode. Natalie gave you some good insight, some good education information, as well as myself. But yeah. Natalie was definitely more clear to be heard than myself. But guess what? Stuff happened. Life happens, right?
And we're here.
So this time we made sure we got a mic check.
Yeah, that's right. The mic is on.
And we back at it. All right. So on today's episode of The Art of Growing Through Trauma, we'll be discussing building resilience, which is very, very, very important to me. And it's a story of my life. And to be honest with you, just resilience in itself is just one of the reasons Adversity University even exists. So let's make some noise for that. Clap, 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 clap.
Yeah.
But definitely what we try to do is just build a resilient person, a resilient community, resilient family, right? Mm-hmm. Because if we build resilient individuals, we build stronger families build stronger community, so on and so forth, right? So that's highly important to discuss. But in the lane of discussing building resilience, the topics that we're going to be discussing today is understanding resilience and its role in trauma recovery. Strategies to build and strengthen resilience, the role of community and support systems, and cultivating a growth mindset. Now, these are some great topics to talk about, and I can't wait to dive in with Natalie. We definitely had some good conversations, some good back and forth. Yes. So I want to keep that going. So Natalie, let's talk real quick about understanding resilience and its role in trauma recovery. Now, I think last episode we discussed, what did we discuss? Last episode was the path to healing.
Yes.
And we just discussed just the process and the path individuals, so that individuals can understand the healing process a little bit better, right?
Right.
We went over the stages of healing from trauma. We went over the role of therapy and the therapeutic relationship. We went over coping strategies and techniques for managing trauma and the importance of self-compassion and patience while going through the actual healing process. Now let's talk about building resilience. So we're trying to understand what resilience is and the role it has in trauma recovery. So look, I'm gonna pull something up real quick and just speak to it because I don't want to ramble. I want to definitely speak on resilience, right? So when we're talking about resilience, and this is a modern definition of resilience, right? At the end of the day, what that means is, just on the overview, is advancing despite adversity. Advancing despite adversity. Right? That's what resilience is, all right? Hence Adversity University. But on the advancing side, it's all about being goal-oriented, right? And working towards an actual vision, right? That's advancing, being goal-oriented and working towards an actual vision. And y'all already know goal setting is a big part of what I do, right? So then you got the word despite, right? So it's about being proactive and don't wait for the adversity to actually present itself. Don't wait for it to come.
Right.
So we have to be proactive, take proactive steps as it relates to, advancing despite adversity. We got to be proactive in the face of all of that.
Right.
Then we got the adversity side of it. All right. So adversity is very, very easy. It's both small and large challenges that comes to you in life. Small and large challenges that comes to you in life. So resilience is advancing despite adversity. So that's enough of that's enough of that. So let's just kind of dive in real quick, right? So we're talking about just advancing despite adversity, right? So when we speak on advancing, the first thing that come to mind for me is goal setting. Right? Why? Because most times, and it's not even about a specific demographic. Most times, we as people, we want to do things and accomplish things, and we just say we're gonna do it, right? And there's nothing else to it. I want to be a millionaire. Period. Right? You write that on the paper. You look at that. Let's see how far you go.
If that's where we leave it, right.
You know what I'm saying? If that's where you leave it at, but to advance, you got to have an actual goal, right? And to have an actual goal, you got to know what an actual goal is, and that's why I'm so big on goal setting. Because when you talk about goal setting, it's about actually having a goal. Number one, right? Then you got to have an objective. For the goal. Then you got to have action steps that's going to help you accomplish that goal and that objective, right? So now, it's very, very simple. But I'll take it a step further, right? Because when you set these goals, the objective, and the actual action steps that's going to help you accomplish that goal, there's an accountability and evaluation portion that's oftentimes missing that don't nobody talk about, right? So how are you going to, what's the start date? When you going to start that goal, all right? When you going to finish that goal? Because you just can't have this I want to be a millionaire goal.
Right.
When you're 80?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It can happen when you're 80. You put it, you know what I'm saying? But what's the action that's going to allow you to accomplish that goal in what period of time?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And the objective is to do what? Right? So you have to have that start date. Then you got to have the actual finish date. When are you going to finish it? Right? Now, when you get to that target date, you have to answer the question to yourself or your accountability partner. Did I accomplish my goal? Yes or no? It's very simple. It ain't you know what? My dog ate my homework. I wasn't able, I ran out of gas. So I wasn't able. It ain't none of that. Did you accomplish the goal? Yes or no? Right. Then you have to explain that to yourself. Period. Why? Why didn't you accomplish the goal? Why did you accomplish the goal? Right. We ain't just focusing on why we didn't, because if we actually accomplish the goal, let's explain to ourselves why and how we accomplished that goal so that we can duplicate that. Right. Then we got the actual again for accountability, right? Did you accomplish your goal? Yes or no? Explain. And what lesson did you learn? Because there's always a lesson in everything. Whether you won or whether you lost, there's a lesson. So if you did not accomplish that goal, okay, why? What's the lesson that you learned? Well, I learned that if I wait till the last minute, 9 times out of 10, I'm not gonna get nothing done. Okay, boom. What lesson did you learn if you did accomplish that goal? Well, when I do things, when I set a start date and a target date, 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna actually complete it.
Right.
Why? Because in between that start date and that target date, I got action steps that I identify with that's gonna actually help me accomplish that actual goal. Then you go hit the target. Boop, bullseye. Right? So if you focus on learning how to set goals and the action that's going to help you accomplish those goals and you stick with them, that's how you build. That's one of the ways you build resilience. Stick with it.
Yeah, I like that. You were way in your coaching bag right there, huh?
I was in it, man. I was in it.
You were in your coaching bag.
I had to give them something because last time they couldn't hear me.
Okay, I appreciate that. Yeah, you pretty much gave us the insights on coaching and accountability and how to build resilience, because with what you said, getting to your goal is not a smooth ride. Sometimes it's not even linear. And in order to be consistent to get to your goal, you have to be resilient because it's not easy. Right. And couple things that came to mind as you were speaking when we're talking about, let's say we're talking football, and the ultimate goal is the post, the goal line, right?
Yep.
But in order to get there, we got to get to the first down, second down, third down, fourth and goal. Look at me. Do you hear me talking?
I hear you.
But you get like a couple yards shy of the first down because defense is doing what they're doing, and then you got to reset. It's all the things. And so resilience comes just, I think, with what you were saying, with the determination to achieve your goal. Like nothing is going to stop you. Nothing is going to stop that receiver or that running back from getting to the next down or getting to that goal line. It's that determination that also is a part of resilience. What also comes to mind is Simone Biles during this last Olympics, 2024 Summer Olympics. Everybody was waiting for her to get the goal, to do the all around and her floor routine and all the things. And I think it was the vault. There was the vault or the floor where she landed, and you saw her like shake on her ankle, and it was like nothing even happened. And I knew that she had done something to her ankles. They went to the side, they wrapped it up, she performed, and she won. She smiled the whole rest of the competition. But during closing ceremonies, she had a whole boot on her foot.
Wow.
So she was in pain, but
Right.
she was resilient and determined and fixed on her goal. Ultimately, gold, but in that moment, to get enough points in that particular event to qualify for the all around. So there's different stages and that require the determination, the grit also, because there's a difference between resilience and grit. And a lot of us need to be able to establish grit and to learn how that works. I'm gonna say this. A lot of us who have experienced trauma know what it is to have grit, because we are out here trying to survive. And so we dig into that grit, and that sometimes can steal the joy from our lives also, because we're, like I said, we're just surviving. We have to get it done. We have to find the work. We have to hustle and all the things, survival. But I think that resilience and a couple of things that we're going to talk about later on balances our lives out between resilience and grit.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. That was a great start. Look, I'm forgetting. I'm on this episode. I'm watching it. Right. I'm watching it now. So now that was good in understanding resilience and the role that it has as far as trauma recovery. Now we dive into the trauma recovery part and how resilience. Let's talk about that actually, because I'm not gonna skip. I was about to, but I'm not gonna skip over that. I definitely want to talk about resilience as it relates to trauma recovery, because last episode we definitely discussed trauma very well, and I think that the audience should. If you hadn't saw that episode, please go back and watch called? The Path to Healing, the Art of Growing Through Trauma, the Path to Healing. If you want to get good insight on really understanding trauma. But let's talk about resilience as it relates to the role it has in trauma recovery, right? So we understand trauma is well, can you break down trauma real quick? Real quick.
The response, the internal response, result of something that you've experienced. So the trauma is not necessarily what happened to you, but what happens in your body as a result of what happens to you. Trauma.
Boom. So most times we identify the trauma that we go through with something negative that we actually experience, right? In order to heal through that process, it takes a lot of deep work. As we discussed before, it's not easy. It's difficult. It's hard to heal through trauma, but it's definitely possible, especially when you're educated and understanding what you're going through, as opposed to only going to seek out therapy and don't know what to expect. And then you get there and your triggers start pulling out the trauma, and then you're all over the place and you feel like, oh man, I ain't never going back there again.
Right.
That ain't what you want. What you want is to be educated, number one, informed as to what trauma actually is, so that you can anticipate when you do seek out this therapist and sit before them that you know what to expect. Number one, you go walk in knowing it's not going to be easy, right? That's the first check mark, because now you're not going to run because you already know it's not going to be easy, right? And the second thing is I got to get through it. I got to get to the other side. It ain't, I'm going to sit down with you, I'm going to spill the beans about what's going to me for 1 or 2 sessions and I ain't coming back no more. Well, what was the purpose?
Right.
There was no purpose in that.
Right.
So now you understand, okay, well, I got to get through it. I got to get to the other side.
Right.
Right. And, the trauma, adversity is associated with the trauma, period. So you understand that I got to conquer the adversity that I go through so that when I, get to the other side, I'm going to have more trauma, more struggles that come to me. I know exactly what to do, right? I know exactly how to prevent these negative feelings and emotions from actually coming. But most importantly, we're trying to recover from the past trauma, right? So we got to do the things, set the goals, right? Be intentional about what we do, be consistent about what we do, hence faith, focus, and consistency. We got to be consistent in the things that we do so that we can recover, because once we're in that recovery space, it's beautiful.
You said something that made me think, Cody. Trauma happened. Our internal response, okay, that's fine. But as we're healing and when we've healed from said one trauma, we have acquired the tools to be able to navigate whatever happens in life moving forward, because life is going to keep lifing, as they say. And there are other things that will really shake us, shake our foundation, which could be like really traumatizing, as they say. But ultimately, we would have learned how to reframe. We would have learned how to adopt a new perspective, how to breathe, how to journal, how to identify our support systems and make it through the situation to where we're not carrying a new trauma. We are still living. We are then advancing despite adversity.
Ooh, you said it there.
You gave it to me. You gave me the ball, and I just ran it to the end zone. That's what happened.
That's what I'm talking about. We got to get into the end zone. Right? So now strategies to build and strengthen resilience. So now now I think I kind of gave you a strategy. Well, one strategy and it's goal setting. If y'all don't know nothing else from me, y'all gonna understand how important goal setting is in life as a whole. And you'll be surprised as to how many people, professionals, adults, and children don't know how to set a goal. They don't know, like, it's just a word to them. And that's that's one of the best tools you can have in your toolbox. Knowing how to set an effective goal, not just a goal. Anybody can say, I want to. I think what I used earlier was about being a millionaire. Anybody can just say that, right? But there's so much that go with that, right? And it's just not even if you play the lottery, like there's nothing is overnight, right? Nothing happens quick. There's always a plan. There's always strategy to go with everything that we do. If we keep that in mind, we will accomplish everything we set our mind to accomplish, right? Because we will then know I can't set 20 goals at one time, right?
Yep.
Because you're not going to accomplish one of them,
right?
So you're better off with dissecting and dividing these 20 goals that you want, figuring out the top ones, and then you focus on that. The top 3. Right. You focus on those 3 goals and you give yourself a start date and a target date.
Right.
Right. And then you can actually accomplish those things. And that's about, building resilience. And I'm going to stay on the goal setting aspect because personally, that's how I made it through. Right. I've always had a vision. I've always had an actual goal.
Okay.
And I always knew that you got to do X, Y, Z to accomplish that goal. Because if you don't, it'll never happen. Right?
It'll never happen. It just makes sense. Right.
Yeah. But what I also, the lane that I also fell in is being the one who had 20 goals at one time. Right? So I ain't just talking just to talk. I'm talking from experience, right? You have all these goals that you want to accomplish, and you're going at them all at one time, right? And you fail. Period, point blank. You fail. You fail. You don't. You may get close to one. You may even accomplish one. But you're distracted by what you're actually trying to accomplish by the other 19. So you'll never be able to put your all into the one.
Right.
You know?
That's right.
What you got? I see that brain spinning. I see it spinning.
That's like having a bunch of girlfriends. Like, you can't really, there's only so much you can give to each one.
Right.
And not only are you robbing them of fulfillment and security, but you're actually robbing yourself.
Yeah, because you better believe those 20, if they ain't getting the attention that they want, they're going somewhere else to get it.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, you have to focus on one thing.
Yes.
Focus on one thing and you will accomplish that one thing, and that one thing will be fulfilled, and you will be fulfilled in knowing that you fulfilled it.
Yes.
One thing, resilience in the midst of trauma. Am I drifting now? Because am I drifting?
I think you're drifting. I think you're drifting a little bit. I try to circle it back, but yeah, I think you're drifting a little bit. But yeah,
don't worry about it. Don't even worry about it. We about to bounce back. We about to get back on the good foot, right?
Yeah.
So I know that we discussed, all things resilience and just kind of building strategies. Now, do you have any examples? Do you have any examples for the people that can assist them with just different strategies in building and strengthening their own resilience?
I think the main strategy is going to be the point that we're going to talk about last in terms of community. But the strategy in terms of resilience, you have to be able to take the next step.
Yep.
Because if we use your definition, advancing despite adversity, you need to be able to take the next step. A lot of times, I've said this in the last episode, anxiety usually accompanies trauma. And a lot of us want to know what's at the end before we take our first step. Am I going to fail? Am I going to succeed? What is it going to be? And then I just won't make the next step. So that we cannot move in the space of resilience if we are bound to or married to the end result. We have to be able to just know and trust the process, take the next step, stay present, and lean into the wins. That's another part of resilience. Lean into your wins.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of times, this is another thing that we do. Those of us who have experienced trauma, we go from task to task to task to task, and we don't take the time to celebrate the wins or to just lean back, take a deep breath, rest, gather our little ducklings, as they say, and on to the next step. We hurt ourselves when we don't celebrate the small wins. Because when something does happen, when a disappointment or when the plan is derailed and it's one thing after, we get discouraged, we get upset, we get depressed. But no, there were like 5 wins before this bad thing happened. So we want to be able to learn that. That would be another suggestion that I have about tools on developing resilience.
No, that's definitely some good stuff. I do want to hop to the role of community and support systems. Number one, because you brought it up. Number two, I think that's very important to dive into as we're talking about. Strategies. That's a whole episode in itself to deep dive in that. And we'll get to that later. If any of you watching right now, if y'all getting anything from what we're talking about as it relates to growing through trauma, please like, share, comment, ask us a question so that we can answer it in the future. Sometimes we'll answer it on the spot, but right now we got an agenda, so we're sticking to it.
Yes.
But, ask us any questions you want. Definitely, if you're on YouTube, subscribe, hit that subscribe button and that bell so that you can be notified when we're dropping these episodes. But these are just education and information. We're sticking to it, right? Because we understand that our community need this and they need it a certain way, and we're going to give it to them so they can apply it, to their lives, right?
Yes.
So let's discuss the role of community and support systems. And I think I'm gonna start, just because community and support systems is something that's very near and dear to me. Being a young, at-risk kid, adolescent, as you want to say it, I was out of my mother's house at the age of 13 because I wanted to do what I wanted to do, right? And you start to realize quick that life ain't what we think it is up here when we're young.
Right.
Right? It ain't as easy as we think it is, right? And the fun part that we think is fun that can ultimately get us in trouble, we kind of stay there till the consequences happen, right? So we have to learn from the consequences in order to get better. I made plenty of mistakes in my young life, right? In which I had to grow from that. I was able to grow from it because of community and the support system. Right? I never thought, well, I did think I knew everything. But I never thought I was better than anybody. And I was never one who didn't listen, right? It was just I did what I wanted to do.
Oh, wow. So you still listened, but you just decided to just do what you wanted to do.
Yeah. And immediately when I did what I wanted to do and it didn't go right, I regret it, right?
Oh, my gosh.
Damn, I know I should have did. But that's the young mind, right? That's the young mind. That's actions that happen. And, unfortunately, a lot of mine was like very severe. But fortunately, the consequences wasn't as severe. So I was able to grow through, right? They say you grow through what you go through. So I was able to grow through the things that I actually went through. Yes. And it really made me a better person. And when I talk community, I mean community. From neighborhoods to athletics. I ran track when I was a little growing up. That was community. Football, that was community. The neighborhoods, that's community. School, that's community. Friendships, that's community.
Yeah.
All of those things are community. But what happens is when you associate yourself with the right people in community, you begin to see the things that you can actually be. You can touch, you can feel, you can observe, you can mimic, right? You can ask questions, you can be mentored, right? You can even in that space mentor somebody else because you've been through a certain situation that you can help lift somebody else up, regardless of what stage you're in, right? So when we talk about the role of community and the role that it plays as far as building resilience, these things help me build resilience as a young person and as an adult because what I saw myself as, most adults didn't see me as that, right? I mentioned when I first started this statement, I was an at-risk kid, right? And I don't like saying it, and a lot of people I know don't like saying at-risk. It's just I was misguided in a sense, right? And I adapted to my environment and my surroundings, and I behaved accordingly, right? And essentially it took me to a place where I made a lot of mistakes, but community helped me identify those mistakes, realize this ain't who you really is, and this ain't what you want, right? And the support system. There's one thing to say community. There's another thing to say support system, right? I think it's very important to identify your support system because when we're actually going through these negative situations and spaces, that support systems are the people that can help guide you, that you can make the more positive decisions.
So, negative situations and things like that, I think definitely, I agree with you, what you're saying, community. But back to the point that I made, when you are celebrating the small things, your community is there to celebrate with you.
Yes.
Research has shown that, a risk factor for depression is when we experience something positive, but we don't share it with anybody in our community, or we don't have a community to share it with. Yes. So what comes to mind also when we talk about community, I'm thinking about, once again, Simone Biles during the pandemic when, she took a mental break. She took she left the Olympic Games to protect her mental health. She was on the floor routine. No, it's not the floor routine. It was the vault. She didn't land properly. And I don't remember the dismount. Yes, the dismount was not a good dismount. She did a front roll off the thing, and she just got off. She got her stuff. She said, "I'm leaving. I'm done." Keep in mind that there was nobody cheering her in the audience in the stadium. Right? There was no community. There was no banners. All she had was her mind, whatever self-talk and the coach and the other girls. We were in the middle of a whole pandemic. Fast forward 4 years, where stadiums are filled. We've got big name celebrities in the stands, community cheering you on, songs, all the things, high-fiving, energy's high. Absolutely, you're gonna land, off the vault and do something to your ankle and still be able to push through and be resilient, win the gold, win the all around because of that connectedness in the community. You are bolstered. And there's also a sense of, I don't want to let myself down, but I don't want to let them down either. And when I win, we are all going to celebrate together. Resilience, advancing despite adversity.
I love it.
And every advance is a reason to celebrate. I really want to highlight and emphasize that aspect of trauma healing and resilience, because although the trauma was negative and there are hard parts about healing, there are also a lot of wins that we want to be aware enough of to celebrate towards resilience and healing.
Absolutely. Which puts me in the mind of just the word growth. That's the first thing that kind of, came to me, because all of that is growth. Even with the example you used from, with Simone Biles and what she experienced during, the previous Olympics and had to, pull out in that regard. And then fast forward to here recently where, she did all of these things, still won gold, celebrated, and that's a good example, really, for people to understand. People are going to praise you until you do something wrong. Well, wrong in their eyes.
Wrong in their eyes, yeah.
You don't. Your actions don't match their agenda. They're going to praise you until that happens, and then. But to your point, they don't need to be a part of your community anymore. Right.
Oh, but I have to say this. Thank you so much. I'm sorry I cut you off, Cody. Okay. But I want you guys to know. I want the audience to know that more times than not, the community that you started with while you were healing from trauma is not going to be the community that you end with. And that can be very difficult. And just to what you said, the moves that you're making, the changes that you're making may not be on the agenda that your previous community has. So you're going to be able to have to release them so that you can make space for your real community, the people that really, as some people say, will ride with you, ride for you, and cheer you on. So thank you for that.
No, that was important to mention, because like I was saying, as far as when your actions don't match somebody else's agenda, they'll begin to demean you, put you down, throw dirt on your name until your actions actually does meet their agenda. So now you got to identify that and recognize that and realize who's your community and who's just there, right? To watch you fall or win, right? And anything that has to do with failure, they don't want to be associated with. But see, the thing about community is, and a good community is, they understand the ups and downs and the highs and lows of life.
Absolutely.
Right? So when you fall, they're going to continue to lift you up and boost you up.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? And when you up, they're there to celebrate with you so that you can, just kind of bask in the glory, for lack of better terms. Because at the end of the day, we all want to win. Right? We're all searching for greatness, but it's going to take the community to make us feel and love the space that we're in while we're achieving, the greatness. So life is about having a growth mindset. And I think I use this on one of my Ask Cody episodes about growth mindset, because when you talk about growth mindset, it's about believing that your most basic abilities, right, can be enhanced with hard work and dedication. So with that said, anybody, but anybody can develop and cultivate an actual growth mindset, right?
That's right.
Because all you got to do is understand that I need to work hard, right? Let me build up what I already have, work hard continuously, faith, focus, and consistency, right? And thrive in the way that I know that I can actually thrive, right? Because you actually believe it. You have to have the faith that whatever it is that you want to accomplish, you're going to accomplish it. Focus on that thing and remain consistent through it all.
Absolutely. One thing that I learned that my coach taught me in the growth mindset is that I can do difficult things and I can overcome any obstacle that comes my way, versus hitting the obstacle and throwing up your hands and this must not be God's will for me, or I knew this was not going to happen, or whatever negative response. No, I can do difficult things and I can overcome any obstacle that comes my way. That's the growth mindset, because it takes you beyond here. You started here, you got to here, you hit a wall. Growth mindset, the thinking about said situation, takes you beyond that, around it, whatever, and on to the next step. So I wanted to offer that.
No, that's some good stuff, man. Because again, we have to understand life is about growth, right?
Yes.
Personally, professionally, mentally, emotionally, even physically, right? Everything about life is about growing, because if we're not growing, we're dying, right?
Yes.
And Natalie, I don't know about you, Natalie, but I plan to at least hit 80.
Oh, really? I plan to hit 99. If I can do 100, that's great, because 99.
Okay, well, we're good. Well, we got some goals to hit.
There you go.
And one thing about it is, I know that my most basic abilities, right, can be accomplished, can be enhanced through hard work and dedication. So I focus on enhancing my life in all aspects of the word. Even as a former athlete, I hated working out. I'm gonna just be honest. So I have to force myself to work out, constantly, even though I got all the equipment, everything I need to do. But I do it, right? I find little small things that I can do that actually enhances, my health. I drink more water, a lot more water.
Good.
I stop eating certain foods, more vegetables. I add that to my plate.
Good.
It's because I understand this is the growth mindset that I speak of, right? I'm limiting myself and I'm limiting my life when I do the Chick-fil-A's and the fast foods and the fried food and all that stuff every single day, and you're not working out like you need to. Number one, you're throwing away your money, right? And you're not adding years to your life, you're taking them away.
Right.
When you look at it like that, you start to make better decisions. And and I just got to keep it a buck with everybody, with you and everybody that's listening. I still battle with it, right? Because life is about habits. It takes 21 days to get rid of old habits and 21 days to form new habits. So what I try to do on a consistent basis is lock in for at least 21 days on whatever that thing is that I want to do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If I say, okay, well, I'm going to stop buying all this juice. I'm going to just drink water. I make sure, first of all, I go tell my 2 daughters and my wife, look, Daddy can't drink no more juice. If I do, say something. Take it away.
Right.
Right? They call me out quick. They call me out quick. But, if my goal is, okay, for the rest of this month, all I'm doing is drinking water, then that's what the goal is. And don't let me do nothing different.
Right.
But it's about, taking control of my life, right? And adding more years as opposed to every morning I wake up and I look at them little girls, I want to be here.
Absolutely.
So I do the things that I need to do to stay here. You know what I'm saying? As long as no accidents happen, I'm going to be around.
Right.
I'm good. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to keep doing that. And I do fall short. Yes, I do. Right? I ain't perfect. Nobody's perfect.
You talked about that. We're human. That's right.
Right. But I fall short, but I always catch myself, and then I get right back in the routine.
That's right.
So life is about the habits and the routines that we carve out for ourselves. As long as we're doing those things to the best of our ability, we're going to be just fine.
That's
So that's growth mindset. So you want to add anything before we wrap, Nally?
Yes, to the best of your ability. And that's the beauty of community. If I'm going to bring the football analogy back up, when we got a receiver or a running back, he's running towards the goal with all of the tools that he has, with, to the best of his ability. But if we know that there's an obstacle coming up, he's going to have a blocker. And if he needs another blocker will come and create the pathway for him to get to the goal, the shared goal. And that's the beauty of community, right? You get to, I can go on and on about that as if I'm the expert, but the importance of knowing that the best that you can do is the best that you can do. And if it's limited, which 9 times out of 10 it is, we can always reach out and ask for help to our community and our support system to join us as we take the next step and advance despite adversity.
Ooh, you did that, Nally. Nah, I definitely appreciate it, man. It's all about advancing despite adversity. Listen, Nally, it's always a pleasure, Nally, like having these conversations with you, educating and informing the people, and just doing what we're doing to heal and help people grow. Absolutely. We all know that our mission is to help heal and grow 1 million families. So, we're going to actually accomplish that. You know why? Because we have goals, right?
Yes,
right?
Yes.
And we're doing all the things that we need to do to make that happen, right?
Absolutely.
The plan is a plan to fail, and we have plans.
Yes.
So with that said, you've just listened to The Art of Growing Through Trauma. This segment is about building resilience. Please, please, please don't forget to go back and watch the other episodes. Like, comment, share to someone who can get something from this. In your comments, make a comment, but at the same time, ask a question. Yes. We'd love to hear from you. What is it that you want to know? What questions that you have as it relates to mental health? What this platform is about is mental health education and implementation as far as guidance goes as well.
Yes.
Knowledge is power, and shared knowledge is more powerful, and perseverance is the key to overcoming all adversity. So never give up. No matter what life throws at you, keep your feet moving. Focus on the solution, and let success be the goal. I'm Cody. This is Nally, and we out of here. We'll see y'all next time.
All right. Bye, y'all.
When perseverance meet adversity, then success is right around the corner. You just gotta be willing to keep going. This is Adversity University. What's your plan? You gonna keep your feet planted, or you gonna keep your feet moving? And success is the next step. Now what you gonna do? Adversity